Welcome back to another explainer. You know, if you've ever gone down the rabbit hole searching for the perfect workout routine, you absolutely know how overwhelming the fitness landscape can be. There is just so much noise out there, and honestly, a lot of it completely contradicts itself. But I like to think of building a functional, resilient body kind of like building a house. I mean, you wouldn't just slap a roof on before laying down a solid foundation, right? You need that sturdy foundation, a really powerful engine to keep things running, and a robust framework. So today, we're going to cut right through all that noise and synthesize the science of fitness down into three essential, totally manageable pillars.
It really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is the actual best way to work out? Because we are constantly bombarded with wildly different advice. You've got one influencer shouting that you need to be lifting massive weights 5 days a week. Then the very next video tells you, no, you need to be running for hours to build endurance. And meanwhile, maybe you're sitting there thinking, look, I just want my lower back to stop hurting when I pick up a bag of groceries. And that confusion? Totally valid. But by digging into the expert advice from physical therapists, trainers, and strength coaches, we can actually clear away the clutter and find a unified, sensible approach that just works for everyday life.
So here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, we'll quickly touch on the exercise overload. Then we get into our pillars. Pillar 1, everyday comfort. Pillar 2, the cardio engine. Pillar 3, compound strength. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to actually build your own balanced routine.
Okay, let's dive into this with Section 1, the exercise overload, finding the right path. Which brings us right to Pillar 1, everyday comfort, the foundation.
For this first pillar, we're drawing on some fantastic insights from Hinge Health, and we kind of need to shift our mindset entirely. Instead of thinking about rehab, I want you to think of these movements as prehab. This is your daily maintenance for your joints and muscles, literally preparing your body for the random stresses of everyday life. Dr. Carla Aravelo Ales, a physical therapist, puts it so perfectly here. It's never too early or too late to do physical therapy exercises. And that really flips the script, doesn't it? These exercises are not just for bouncing back from an injury. They're a vital, proactive tool to help you stay active, enjoy your hobbies comfortably, and stop injuries before they even happen, no matter your age. Whether you're gearing up for a 5K or you just want to work in the garden without seizing up, this is exactly where it all begins. To build this rock-solid foundation, Hinge Health breaks physical therapy exercises down into three main buckets. First up is strengthening. Take the dead bug exercise, for example. It sounds ridiculous, I know, but it aggressively targets your transverse abdominis. That's the deep core muscle wrapping around your lower abdomen that basically acts like a built-in weight belt to protect your spine. Next, we have flexibility. Moves like the pigeon pose are incredible for targeting deep glute muscles like the piriformis, which is absolutely crucial for hip stability when you're just walking around. And finally, range of motion exercises. Think cat-cow stretches or even just simple ankle circles. These are what keep your joints moving freely and smoothly so you never get that locked-up stiff feeling.
So the crucial point is, when it comes to this foundational pillar, quality absolutely wins over quantity every single time. A really common baseline is aiming for 3 sets of 10 repetitions, maybe 3 to 5 times a week. But Dr. Arvalo Alas is quick to point out that if a movement feels uncomfortable or just too challenging right now, it is completely fine to start with 3 sets of 5 reps. Seriously, listen to your body. You are not trying to push to absolute failure here. You're just trying to coax your body into moving better and letting go of tension.
All right, moving right along to Pillar 2, the cardio engine, stamina and efficiency. Now that we've got a solid, pain-free foundation poured, it's time to install the engine. If our body is a house, this is the electrical system keeping the lights on and everything running efficiently for the long haul. Pulling from some great research out of ASI Recreation, let's clearly contrast the two main ways people try to build this engine. On the right, we've got traditional steady-state cardio. This is your classic long jog, a steady bike ride, or doing laps in the pool at a consistent pace for over 20 minutes. Then on the left, we have HIIT, high-intensity interval training. As the trainers at ASI define it, HIIT is all about repeated bouts of extremely high-intensity effort followed directly by recovery periods. It's short, it's punchy, and it forces you to push your limits in quick bursts. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the data comparing the two actually shows HIIT delivering surprisingly greater cardiovascular adaptations. I mean, you'd naturally assume that just chugging along on the treadmill for an hour is the absolute gold standard for heart health, right? But the numbers don't lie. We actually see a 10% greater improvement in stroke volume, which is literally the amount of blood your heart can pump with a single beat, and a 6% greater improvement in VO2 max, which is the gold standard for measuring how effectively your body uses oxygen. And here is the absolute best part. HIIT is wildly time efficient.
You can achieve these massive cardiovascular upgrades, including boosting your mitochondrial density, which are basically the microscopic energy factories inside your cells, in just 20 minutes or less, depending on your rest intervals. So if you are someone who absolutely dreads spending an hour staring at a wall on an elliptical machine, this is your proof that you can build an incredibly powerful engine in a fraction of the time.
Okay, on to section 4, pillar 3, compound strength, the structural framework.
All right, we have laid the foundation, we've installed the engine, now we raise the walls. Drawing from the strength experts at Muscle and Fitness, building this robust framework means putting our focus squarely on compound exercises. This is where we build raw, functional strength, pack on muscle mass, and forge a body that can handle heavy loads safely. We really need to step away from those machines that just isolate one single muscle. By definition, compound exercises are multi-joint movements that demand balance and coordination, and they engage multiple muscle groups all at the exact same time. Because you're recruiting so much muscle at once, you can handle significantly heavier weights, and that translates directly into better real-world performance and way more muscle mass. And this brilliantly illustrates just how incredibly efficient these movements are. Take the squat. It doesn't just work your thighs, it heavily engages your hamstrings and your glutes. The barbell bench press, sure, it builds the chest, but it's also hammering the anterior deltoids in your shoulders and your triceps. And then there's the barbell deadlift, probably the ultimate full body builder. That move is heavily recruiting your thighs, hamstrings, your entire lower back, and your traps. Honestly, these lifts are the heavy-duty steel beams holding up your fitness house. Let's move to section 5 and see how this builds into your balanced routine, putting it all together. So, we've got the foundation of comfort, the engine of cardio, and the framework of strength. But how do we actually mix all these ingredients together without just completely burning out? Well, the secret to making this a lifelong habit is leaving your ego at the door. Healthline actually offers a fantastic piece of advice that perfectly applies to everything we've covered today. If you can't quite perform a standard push-up with good, strict form, just drop down to a modified stance on your knees. It's that simple. You're still going to reap massive benefits while safely building up your strength. Whether you're doing a PT stretch, a breathless HIIT session, or a heavy barbell lift, scaling the movement to your current ability is the absolute key to consistency. Remember, modifying an exercise isn't a sign of weakness, it is the hallmark of a smart, sustainable training plan. So I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge today. I want you to look critically at your current routine, or, your lack of one, and ask yourself, which of these 3 pillars are you missing? Are you pushing really heavy weights in the gym but waking up every morning with a stiff back because you're entirely skipping everyday comfort mobility? Or maybe you're doing hours of cardio but you lack the basic structural strength to safely carry a heavy box up a flight of stairs. Identify that missing pillar, try implementing just a couple of exercises from that category this week, and I bet you'll be amazed at how quickly your overall fitness transforms. Stay curious, stay consistent, and I will catch you in the next explainer.